This is Ernie Brown, News Talk 820 WBAP. Marie Cosgrove joins us. She has a program called The Resilient Student. You'll find her online at antibullyingprogram.org. Marie, thank you for joining me on WBAP.
Oh, it's an honor to be here with you this morning. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad to have you. You know, it's unfortunate, no matter how much we talk about bullying and trying to stop it in schools, saying they have these anti-bullying programs, it still goes on. In fact, it's still probably as rampant as it once was.
That's true, absolutely. And it's actually doubled up in recent years. So it's a huge problem.
What do you do? Your kid's getting bullied at school. What do you do? How do you fix this? How do you help them through this? Because nothing makes you feel worse, especially when you're a kid just trying to figure out who you are and you're getting bullied.
Well, what I teach students is they've got to build resilience, and the resilient student is able to stand up to himself when he's bullied. Also, students that bully the kids around, they need to keep an eye on that because they don't allow other kids to be bullied. And right now, what we see going on is that a lot of kids are being bullied, not only in the schools, but through social media. And a lot of kids are afraid to speak up. They're afraid to say anything. And so it is so important if kids see someone being bullied, they need to speak out and they need to report it either to a teacher, to their parents. And if the kid is being bullied, it is so important for them to speak to their parents. And a lot of times the kids are afraid to speak to their parents because they feel shame or the parents are not listening to their kids. So it's so important also on the parent side for them to be listening to the kids and look for signs of what may be going on with their kids. Because
Well, this is one of the frustrating things I think kids feel is that sometimes they will report it, they will go through the proper channels, but people just don't respond to them. Maybe somebody at the school, they just don't want to deal with it or just, get over it. Or, when I was a kid, you have to fight it out or, that kind of thing. And the ideas just don't work the way they once did.
Exactly, because the teachers are not properly trained on how to deal with bullying. A lot of times they just say, okay, go to the principal's office, and the principal doesn't know how to deal with it. And a lot of times the kids, especially right now with ADHD and all of these conditions, it's just ADHD, so they let the bully go because of another condition. And so the issue is not really addressed, and it needs to be addressed. Teachers need to learn and be taught how to be able to have control over the situation and over their classrooms. And unfortunately, there's not enough training for that.
How many times have we seen one of these types of shootings take place and we find out later the kid was bullied? It's not an excuse for what they did. It certainly isn't excusing them for doing so, but I guess nowadays, because there is no outlet, because oftentimes kids come from broken homes or don't have anybody they can talk to, or they're angry, they're embarrassed, they don't know what to do, and they feel like there's no other way out. I mean, these are obviously things that somebody with a not fully developed brain, they don't know how to process this stuff.
Exactly, and this is where us as a community, we need to come together and we need to pay attention. We need to listen to the students. I was reading a story about a neighbor who noticed that this shooter was bullied and had problems at home. Also, another student noticed that the kid was cutting himself, and cutting is still very prevalent. And so when we see this in the community, we need to reach out and talk to these students, get the right help to these students. If you're a student and you see that your friend is cutting or they're depressed, reach out to the counselors in the school so that the student can get the help that they need. I know when I was a kid, I was bullied because I was born to a mentally disabled single mom who had serious issues and schizophrenia because she was in a car accident, and I'm a product of rape. And so I went through that depression, and that's what the teacher did. Sent me to the principal's office. Principal didn't know what to do with me, sent me to the counselor. Fortunately, the counselor got me the help that I needed. And so today I'm able to help students with being a resilient student. And so we need to come together as a community and reach out when we see a student that is cutting. We need to reach out to the right counselors that can help. Maybe you don't have the resources. There are people that are professionals that have the resources that are able to help. And I think we need to do more than just send the kid to the principal's office or expel them and that's it. There's nothing more that we can do. Let, whatever happens, happens. No, we need to find out what's the root cause. Why is this kid getting into trouble? Why is he not coming to school? This child was not going to school missed a lot of days in school. Who was reaching out? And I'm not saying nobody reached out, but we need to do better. We need to reach out. We need to find out, is this kid missed school? Why? If you're a neighbor and you see that there is a bad situation at home, find some help for that family because that family is suffering. Maybe you're a mother. Maybe you're a mother and you're dealing with a child that is depressed or a child that has anger issues. There's a root cause. Why is this child having anger issues? And maybe you don't have the resources to help your child. There are resources out there. Get professional help. It is so important that we find out the root cause now before it gets into what we're seeing today. It gets into something much worse because I know I was there and I could have ended up in in a war situation. And had I not had intervention, I would have probably ended up in prison. I'm sure that's what would have happened. And by the grace of God, I'm here today and I'm able to help thousands of students.
Marie, I mean, it's remarkable when you think of your origin story. Any betting person would have said, yep, she's going to prison. There's no question. Was there a tipping point in your life, one way or the other, that the decision was made, you made it, or you saw the light?
Absolutely. When it was a counselor in high school who said, you can do this. She believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. Yeah. And I've had those situations throughout even my career because I made a bad choice. I married into it was a domestic violence situation. Dad lost parental rights because of extreme abuse towards my kids. And I had to leave a 6-figure job and it was paying very well because my kids were abused. I needed to get my kids to safety. So parents, if your kids are being abused by a parent, get yourself to safety, get your kids to safety. It is so important. I then ended up getting fired because I got a job in sales, and they fired me because I did too well. Then I turned around and bought the company that fired me. And the tipping point for
Good
me...
for you.
Thank you. And the tipping point for me was that no one's ever going to hit my kids again. No one's going to abuse my kids. No one's going to bully my kids. No one's going to bully me. I mean, I came from a bullying situation, a product of rape. Then, I was bullied in a domestic violence situation. My kids were bullied, and I said, no more. Enough is enough. And that's why I'm passionate about helping students, helping teachers become resilient. Because if I can do it, you can do it. There are resources available. There are people that care. And we need to do better as a community. And I'm so grateful for the people who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself.
Check out online, antibullyingprogram.org. The Resilient Student. This is Marie Cosgrove. What a story. And thank you so much. I do appreciate the information very much. I'm glad you came on today.
All right. Thank you for having me.
All right. You bet.